Right then. Welcome to this deep dive all about lightning.
Oh, exciting.
We're going to try and get beyond just being scared of it,
Right.
to understand how it works, especially in Italy. Sunny Italy. We've got this book.
Yes.
It really digs into the science behind lightning. And it actually answers a question I've always had. Why is the most pleasant hiking weather
Yeah.
often the most dangerous when it comes to lightning?
I think what this book does really well,
Yeah.
it explains why,
Right.
which is more helpful than just saying, be scared.
Definitely. Like, if you know why you shouldn't stick a fork in an outlet, you're less likely to do it again.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
Imagine a massive cloud, like one of those cumulonimbus clouds,
Yeah.
the ones that mean a thunderstorm is coming. Inside that cloud, it's like a giant electricity party.
So like static electricity, when you get a shock from rubbing a balloon on your jumper.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Only much, much bigger. So at the top of the cloud, you've got positive charges. And then in the middle and lower parts, the negative charges are hanging out. Now, when the difference between these charges, or the cloud and the ground,
Yeah.
gets too big, well, the air, which is normally a pretty good insulator, just can't hold it back anymore. And that's when you get lightning.
So it's not just like one bolt just zapping down.
No, not at all. It's
Yeah.
more like a conversation between the cloud and the ground.
Interesting.
So first you have something called a stepped leader.
Okay.
It's like a finger of electric charge reaching down from the cloud, looking for the easiest path to the ground.
Is that what you see in slow motion videos? That sort of flickering line?
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
And when it gets close enough to the ground, a positive charge shoots right back up to meet it.
Right.
That's the return stroke. And it all happens so fast.
Like faster than you can say thunderstorm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. And understanding this two-way process is
Yeah.
really important because it helps us figure out where lightning is most likely to strike.
Okay, so it's not just random chance then.
No.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about Italy.
Right.
This book really focuses in on how Italy's location makes it a bit of a lightning hotspot. Why is that?
Well, think about where it is.
Right, in the Mediterranean.
Exactly. You've got all this warm, moist air rising up from the sea,
Right.
which is just perfect for thunderstorms.
And the book talks about a key difference, doesn't it, between lightning that's caused by weather fronts,
Yeah.
big systems moving across,
Right.
and the kind that you get on, like, a sunny afternoon.
Yes. So in the spring and summer,
Yeah.
you often get these classic afternoon thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And that's all driven by the heat of the sun.
Right, yeah.
The warm air rises, makes those big clouds, and then bang, lightning.
Wow.
But Italy also gets lightning from weather fronts,
Yeah.
that sweep across Europe,
Yeah.
particularly in the autumn and spring.
So it's almost like Italy gets, well, a double whammy of lightning potential, really.
You could say that, yes.
And that's why understanding the types of storms is so important, especially in a place like Italy, where, well, the landscape's so varied. You could be hiking in the Alps one day,
Yeah.
sailing along the coast the next,
Yeah.
and the risks are different everywhere, really.
Exactly.
That reminds me of something quite sobering in the book, the story of the environmental guide,
Oh, yes.
who was, sadly, killed by lightning while hiking.
Yeah, it is a tragic reminder, isn't it?
Yes.
That even experienced outdoor enthusiasts can be caught out.
Right.
And the book makes a point of saying that those beautiful summer afternoons in the mountains, the kind that make you want to go for a long walk,
Yeah.
they're often the most dangerous.
Because that's when these heat-driven thunderstorms pop up.
Exactly. The book even talks about a specific type of storm,
Oh, okay.
the advective storm,
Right.
which is, well, it's unique to the Adriatic coast of Italy.
Oh, really? What makes them different?
Well, they're incredibly fast-moving. They often come with strong winds and torrential rain. And, of course, loads of lightning.
Right.
You could be enjoying a nice sunny afternoon on the beach,
Yeah.
and then within minutes, caught in this fierce thunderstorm, they can be quite frightening.
So it's definitely something that travelers to Italy should be aware of.
Yes, definitely.
Right. And it's not just about knowing when to expect them,
No.
but it's about understanding what to do if you're caught in one.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the question that, well, everyone wants to know. How much should we worry about being struck by lightning?
Well,
Are those 1 in a million odds actually true?
I think, like most things, it's a little more complicated than that.
Right.
raw statistics can be a bit misleading, can't they?
Mm.
It's all about understanding the actual risk
Yeah.
in your situation.
So it's less about those big, scary numbers
Yeah.
and more about being aware of your surroundings,
Yeah.
making good choices.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where, debunking some of those common myths
Oh, yeah.
can be helpful.
Right. For instance, is it true that you're safe if you stand under a tree during a thunderstorm?
I've always heard to avoid trees,
Mm.
but I'm not really sure why.
It's a really dangerous myth.
Right.
Because trees are often the tallest thing around,
Yeah.
especially in a field, which makes them prime targets for lightning. And that's why that story of the environmental guide
Yeah.
is so relevant, really,
Yeah.
because it shows how important it is to understand the risks
Right.
associated with different places.
Yeah.
Lightning, it doesn't discriminate, does it?
No.
It just follows physics.
It's a stark reminder that those beautiful landscapes can be so dangerous
Yes.
really quickly. So, practicalities.
Okay.
What are some things we can do to stay safe during a thunderstorm?
Right.
Especially if we're out enjoying ourselves.
The book has loads of advice
Yeah.
for different situations,
Right.
like hiking in the mountains,
Yeah.
sailing, or even just pottering about in the garden.
Right. Because a British summer wouldn't be a British summer without a few surprise downpours. Exactly.
Right. So let's start with hiking. What's the golden rule if you're caught in a thunderstorm?
Up in the hills,
Yeah, up in the hills.
I'd say get off the mountain as quickly as possible.
Get off that mountain. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because those peaks and ridges, they're like giant lightning rods.
Right.
So the first thing is to get to lower ground. And if you can't get indoors, find a dry, low-lying area.
Okay.
Now, a cave
Yeah.
can offer some protection,
Mm.
but avoid standing near the entrance
Okay.
or touching the walls.
Right. Is that because of the ground current?
Yes, exactly.
The electricity can travel through the ground. Blimey. It's like an invisible electric web.
It is. So steer clear of metal objects, even if they're not directly hit.
Right.
The current can travel through the ground and the metal, and you don't want to be anywhere near that path.
Definitely not.
And let's not forget about water.
Water, yeah.
Being on or near water during a thunderstorm is incredibly dangerous because water's such a good conductor of electricity.
Right. So you're just basically turning yourself into a lightning rod, aren't you?
Exactly. So if you're swimming, boating, or even fishing,
Yeah.
get out of the water immediately
Right.
and seek shelter well away from the shore.
Okay, so no messing about when it comes to water.
No.
Okay. What about camping? If you're in a tent and the storm hits.
Well, the ideal scenario is to have your tent pitched in a low-lying area,
Yeah.
away from tall trees. But if you're in a more exposed campsite, I'd say try and find a more sturdy shelter,
Okay.
like a proper storm shelter or even a building.
And what about like camping gear? All that metal stuff.
Right. Well, tent poles and cooking equipment,
Yeah.
it's best to keep those well away from your tent
Okay.
because they can attract lightning
Right.
or become dangerous if they get struck.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right.
Right. What if you're at home when a thunderstorm rolls in? Are you safe indoors?
Well, being inside a well-constructed building does offer a good level of protection, but there are still a few things to be careful of.
Okay. Like what?
So avoid using corded phones because lightning can actually travel through the phone lines.
Right.
Also, stay away from windows and plumbing and electrical appliances.
Yeah.
Because these can create a way for lightning to get into your home.
So it's all about avoiding those pathways, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, so no having a bath during a thunderstorm then.
I'd say probably not.
Okay, good to know.
Also, unplug your electronics. A surge protector might not be enough to protect them if lightning strikes.
Right, because even indoors, you're still at risk.
Exactly. Lightning doesn't have to directly hit you to cause harm.
Right.
The current can travel,
Yeah.
and even a nearby strike can be dangerous.
Okay, well, that's a little unsettling.
It is. But knowledge is power, isn't it?
Yeah.
By understanding these risks
Yeah.
and taking precautions,
Right.
we can really reduce our chances of being hurt.
Okay. Now, the book also goes into some of those common lightning myths, and
Right.
I have to say, I fell for some of these.
Oh, they are persistent, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
For example, lots of people think that you should lie flat on the ground if you're caught in a thunderstorm.
Oh, yeah.
But this is really dangerous.
Hold on, isn't that what they tell you to do in golf? Get low to the ground.
It's a common misconception. See, lying down actually increases your contact with the ground,
Right.
which increases the risk of, well, a bigger voltage difference across your body, which can be deadly.
So it's like crouching tiger, hidden dragon sort of position.
Yes, minimize your contact with the ground,
Right.
but stay low. It's the safest option.
Right. And what about like jewelry or watches
Right.
or even cell phones?
Yeah.
Do those things really attract lightning?
Another myth busted.
Okay.
Height and conductivity are the main things that attract lightning. And those small metal objects don't really change that.
So getting rid of your bling isn't going to save you.
No.
Okay, right. Good to know.
What's much more important is finding proper shelter
Yeah.
and following the guidelines.
Common sense over superstition then.
Exactly.
Okay. And another one I've always heard.
Yeah.
Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Surely that's not true, is it?
Completely false.
Really?
Tall buildings, skyscrapers, radio towers, they can get struck many times in one storm.
Really? Wow.
It goes to show that lightning really doesn't play by our rules.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So what other advice does the book give
Right.
on how to assess your risk?
It really stresses that you shouldn't underestimate the distance lightning can travel.
Right.
You might think you're safe because the storm seems far away,
Yeah.
but it can strike miles from the center of the storm cloud.
So that distant rumble might be closer than you think.
Exactly. And that's why the 30-30 rule is so important.
Oh, right. Yes. The book did mention that. Can you explain that?
Of course. So if less than 30 seconds pass between seeing the lightning and hearing the thunder,
Yeah.
the storm's close enough to be a real threat.
Right.
So you need to get to safety immediately.
So count the seconds. Between the flash and the bang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you're safe inside,
Yeah.
wait at least 30 minutes after the last clap of thunder before going back outside.
Right. Because even though it seems like it's past,
Yeah.
those lingering clouds can still be dangerous.
Absolutely. Lightning safety isn't just about reacting, it's
Yeah.
about thinking ahead
Right.
and making informed choices.
Good advice. So the book also talks about lightning hotspots.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that Italy isn't the only place
No.
that gets a lot of strikes.
It compares Italy with the United States,
Right.
and it shows just how similar and different they are.
Right. Okay.
So, for example, Florida
Yeah.
is known as the lightning capital of the U.S.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Something about all the storms coming in from the sea.
Exactly. Florida's geography
Right.
with the warm, humid climate
Yeah.
and the Gulf of Mexico,
Yeah.
it's just perfect for thunderstorms.
And the book mentions Lightning Alley.
It does,
Where's
yes.
that exactly?
Well, it stretches from Tampa to Orlando,
Okay.
and it's well known for its frequent lightning. They've even got special lightning detection systems in place there.
Wow. But Florida's not the only place, is it?
No.
The book also talks about other parts of the world,
It does, yes.
like South America, Asia.
Yes. So, for example, the Catatumbo River in Venezuela
Right.
is famous for its almost nightly lightning storms,
Really?
thousands of strikes for several hours.
That sounds incredible. What causes that?
Well, it's a really unique set of circumstances. You've got the warm, moist air from the Caribbean Sea,
Right.
the Andes Mountains,
Yeah.
trapping the heat,
Wow.
and then a really unusual wind pattern
Okay.
that creates all these thunderclouds.
It's like nature's light show, really, isn't it?
It is.
It's amazing how geography and weather
Yeah.
can create such dramatic lightning. What other examples does the book give?
Well, it talks about Bangladesh,
Okay.
where they have the most fatalities in the pre-monsoon period,
Right.
often in the morning hours.
Oh, so not always those afternoon storms then?
No, it seems that the moist air from the Bay of Bengal
Yeah.
clashes with cold air from the Himalayas,
Right.
which creates perfect conditions for pre-monsoon thunderstorms.
So a whole different set of conditions
Yes.
than what you see in Italy or Florida.
Yeah.
It just highlights how different lightning is around the world, really.
It does. But even though some regions are more prone to lightning,
Yeah.
the book makes the point that nowhere on Earth is immune.
Right. So even if you live in a relatively low-risk area,
Yeah.
you still need to be aware
Mm.
and take precautions.
Exactly. Even one lightning strike
Right.
can be devastating.
Okay. Now, the book also looks at how human behavior
Right.
and cultural practices
Yes.
can actually influence our risk of being struck.
It's really interesting. So in some parts of Africa, for example,
Yeah.
there's a misconception that sheltering under a tree during a thunderstorm is safe.
Right. We've already debunked that one.
We have.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this leads to more fatalities.
It shows that education
Yeah,
is just as important as understanding the science.
absolutely. And the book even talks about the history of lightning rods, that Benjamin Franklin invented.
Right. What a brilliant invention.
It is. It saved so many lives.
Yeah.
And protected buildings, too.
It's a testament to human ingenuity, really, isn't it?
It is. We've harnessed our understanding of lightning.
Yeah.
to develop ways to protect ourselves.
And the book goes beyond lightning rods.
Mm-hmm.
It gives us a whole range of tips for staying safe in various situations.
It does. So for playing sports, being on a boat,
Right.
even just our everyday activities.
Because you can encounter lightning almost anywhere, really, can't you?
You can. And the book stresses that no matter where we are or what we're doing, understanding lightning and following safety guidelines is what makes all the difference.
Right. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of this part of our, electrifying
Struggles.
deep dive into lightning.
Don't go anywhere yet, though. There's still more to come in the final part.
Welcome back to our deep dive into all things lightning. We've covered a lot.
We have.
From how it works
Yes.
to how to stay safe.
Right.
But I think now it's time to move on from the what to the so what. You know?
Exactly.
It's great to know all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it actually mean for us?
Well, I think the point of all this is to give you the knowledge to make good choices when it comes to lightning.
So it's not just about avoiding getting struck.
No.
It's about understanding the risks.
Yes.
And taking those into account when you're planning your adventures.
Exactly. Like if you know that some weather patterns are likely to bring thunderstorms, well, you can plan around them.
Right. You can hike in a different day.
Yeah.
Or have a backup plan.
Exactly.
If it starts to look nasty. So being proactive rather than reactive.
Exactly. And it's about knowing your limits, too. If you're up a mountain and a thunderstorm comes in, well, it's probably best to head back down, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. A safe retreat is sometimes the best option.
Yes.
And it's not just personal safety.
No.
It's about protecting your belongings, too.
Yes. Think about electronics.
Right.
Unplugging things during a storm can save a lot of hassle and money.
Yeah. It's about using this knowledge in all parts of your life, really.
Absolutely. Now, here's something to think about. It's the unpredictability of lightning that makes it so captivating and so dangerous.
Yeah, that's true. There's something amazing and scary about a thunderstorm. It's a real force of nature.
It is.
And that's the key, isn't it? Respect its power.
Yes.
But don't let fear stop you from enjoying nature.
Exactly.
You can venture out safely if you take the right precautions.
Well said. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Giving you the information you need to make informed decisions.
Exactly. So the next time you hear thunder or see those flashes of lightning, remember what we've talked about.
Enjoy the show, but stay safe.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
Be sure to check out the show notes for all the resources we mentioned. And as always, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.